There we are. Hi, everybody, and welcome. Welcome to session 3 of Soul Shift. We're so happy to see you. I'm happy to see you. Alexis is thrilled to see you. Your friends and beloveds in our space are thrilled to see you. How are you doing today? Well, welcome in. Session 3 is always, I don't know about you, I just love it so much. I look forward to it. I never do the same thing twice, as you know, if you've been around for a while. And to those of you who are new, isn't this cool? So it might be your first journey with us in Soul Shift, so that's exciting too. So I want to let you know too that we are also blending our perfume tonight, of course. And then we will be crafting our candles together next week. We'll be doing candle carving, and I'll be telling you more about that toward the end of the week this week to get you prepared. But for tonight, we are working on our blend of the month together, which is our Journey to Openness perfume. And the oils that we're working with tonight are Tobacco Absolute. You know, we always blend perfume at the beginning of session 3. Turmeric. Got a little smudgy fur on there. A little turmeric for you. And then pink peppercorn. And we're going to blend that with jojoba tonight and put that into our blend for this month. And then you also have your elixir, which is your I think of it as a preparation mist for all the work that we do together. So I already worked with this through my space. I always spray whatever the monthly elixir is all the way through my crystal room before we began, and the smell just kind of like lets my central nervous system know, like, okay, we're getting ready for ceremony now, right? And you can use any ingredients you want to use to blend with me tonight, but it's kind of nice to dedicate a perfume to the work of this evening. So some people have other essential oils they want to work with. That's okay too. It's just kind of a space for blending and doing that together in ceremony. So this is your transmute elixir for the month. So it's good to take that and to anoint with that as well. At my wrists for what I do, and my third eye for what I know. Oh, that smell. That smell. It's one of my favorites. I know I say that every month, but I feel like each month they get a little more complex and a little bit deeper. Have you been enjoying that one this month too? Yeah, that was the main mix in the transmute is tonka bean and bergamot. Tonka bean, which is kind of like, for me, it's like a mix of vanilla and amber, and then you put the bergamot in there, so there's a little bit of a sharper citrus, but there's also that buttery tonka bean in there, and there's something really sexy about it. Anyway, that will also help to prepare you for our work this evening. Okay. So I always ring my bell, not too loud. Session 3 has begun. So I'm going to teach you a little bit tonight. We're going to make our perfume, and then of course we're going to journey together. And then we will release our circle and conclude our session. I'm glad you like it too. You're going big screen. So yeah, and I want to tell you, during session 3, more than any other session of Soul Shift, I love seeing you guys interact, and it makes my heart happy, and I know it makes you happy too. But sometimes it's nice also to just pull back and have the intensity of the experience for yourself. So I don't want you to feel guilty if you're like, you know what, I'm going to go lay down on my, mat or on my blanket and grab my pillow and just kind of snuggle up and just enjoy listening and journeying tonight. And it's totally okay. If I don't see you engage in the feed, I don't ever take that personally, because a lot of people just want to kind of go within on these journey nights, and we don't get a lot of journey space. You know what I mean? So if you just want to go within and just be still and not necessarily be in the feed, that's also a-okay with me. And however you choose to receive the medicine of tonight, is good for you. So so take your time and take your space. When I'm in classes, ironically, I don't engage that much in the feed in classes that I take. I'm a pretty solitary practitioner. No, I mean, I do like to get to know people and check in on people and how's it going, but like once class starts, I'm usually either laying down or journaling or, you know what I mean? Like I'm in my zone. So I always want to give you permission to do that too, but also tell you it's great if you're in the feed. You know what I mean? I don't judge your experience. So however you receive and learn and relax best is what will work for you. And if you fall asleep, that's great too. I fall asleep sometimes. We're doing breath work tonight, and I fall asleep about maybe 10-15% of the time when I do breath work. And I especially fall asleep if I haven't done it for a while, because Spirit's like, it's been a while. We gotta knock her out, right? So, okay. So, you're gonna go at your own pace, and it'll be exactly what it needs to be for you. And if you do want to have, a crystal with you tonight that you want to work with as a medicine piece, or I don't know, a piece of jewelry that you want to charge with the energy of your journey, that's okay too. But don't rush to go get something. Like, just practice being instead of doing all the time, right? Okay, good. So I am going to teach you for a few minutes because I'm sharing some concepts with you, alchemical concepts with you tonight that we haven't talked about before. And it's important because this is our last part of alchemy to go deeply inward before we expand, broadly outward, if you will. And one of the concepts that has perplexed me since I started studying alchemy, and my study of alchemy began in college. I got introduced to the concept of alchemy in an esoteric history class that I took. And at the same time, I was taking some of my metaphysical classes, and some of my pagan classes had already talked about alchemy. So my interest was piqued, and I've always been obsessed with Egypt, so anything that connects me to ancient Egypt also always has my fascination, right? But there are some concepts in alchemy that I'm still exploring. Like, I haven't gotten to the bottom of them yet. They still, keep me curious and interested, and one of them is called the secret fire. The other one is what's known as the philosopher's stone, right? And so there are these concepts, and these constructs in alchemy that are mysterious. Like, what is the philosopher's stone? What is the ultimate substance that can transform base metals to gold, right? Or that can help us overcome all of our spiritual challenges. And so for me, this concept of a secret fire is one that, and I love reading where you kind of first encountered alchemy too. The secret fire concept is one that doesn't get discussed very much. And when it does, like, my ears perk up, because it's always like, oh wait, you've heard of the secret fire too? Because in alchemy, there were 4 levels of fire. I'm going to walk you through what they were. Remember that in magic, things tend to be both literal and symbolic, right? It's sort of like the Bible, right? Like, you can read the Bible literally, but a lot of times it's more accurate if you read the Bible symbolically. It's the same thing with most of the high spiritual and religious texts, right? Like, in alchemy, things are literal, but they're also symbolic. So I believe that there is a concept of a secret fire that in some ways is not a fire at all, this 4th level of alchemical fire. And what I mean by that is, the lowest level of fire, what's called common fire, is a fire that you would light in your backyard on summer solstice, or that we would have used in ancient times to cook our food, like just a basic fire, a basic flame. That's the lowest level of fire in alchemy. The highest level is called a secret fire, and it's believed to be a fire with flames that do not burn. And most people translate the secret fire as the breath. I'm going to share with you tonight everything I know about this, and then I want to know what you think. I want to know how this resonates with you, because you see mention of fire in the Bible. In fact, God is referred to. There's a scripture that says, I wrote it down. Where did I put it? Another page. I know I wrote it down. For our God is a consuming fire. That is a passage from the Christian Bible, the Judeo-Christian Bible, describing God, that God would appear as flames, right? And if you're familiar with the Bible, then that's not uncommon to you, right? But we find this in other traditions as well. And in fact, the sun god in the Egyptian tradition is also a god of fire, right? Agni, who's one of the source creator gods from the Zoroastrian tradition, is also considered a god of fire. And some of the creation goddesses too, like think of Pele, right, in the Hawaiian tradition. Think of Kali, right? Fire has been seen as an element both of creation and of destruction, right? So you can I'm sure you can, like, weave this thread through whatever traditions you're familiar with, and you probably can come up with some places where deity is associated with fire. We also think of certain goddesses as sort of keepers of the fire, keepers of the cauldron, if you will, like Ceridwen the other night we were working with for summer solstice, right? Or Hecate, who's seen as also a goddess, keeper of the cauldron, Hestia, Vesta. So we see this concept of deity as fire, but we don't necessarily think of it in a literal sense, right? And so a lot of the descriptions, and I'm just getting there, Bonnie. Bonnie's like 2 steps ahead of me because she said Kundalini Yoga uses the breath of fire. It's true. And Kundalini is actually another manifestation of that fire. Kundalini is the creative, right, in terms of creating life. Kundalini is the procreative expression, human expression of the secret fire. And so some people see sex as the secret fire. Some people see consummation, so the union of the male and female producing, an egg, or fertilized egg. They see that as the secret fire. I tend to interpret it myself as the breath. I tend to interpret it as the life force, because the way the secret fire is described in a lot of these different texts and traditions is it's the force that animates. It's the great mystery, the secret fire. And so again, the elementary fire, what we know as common fire, is the first level. It only produces heat, and it can't create. It can only destroy. One of the hallmarks, if you will, of the secret fire is that it can both destroy and create. So if you think about the fire in your kitchen that you would cook with, or you think about a bonfire, that is not a fire that can create. That is a fire that can destroy. The celestial fire is the second level of fire in alchemy. This is considered to be the white flame of peace. It's considered a more refined form of fire than the common fire or the celestial fire. And it shines without burning. This is the first time we hear the description in these alchemical texts, and exists only in the spirit realm. It's not manifest in human form. So once we leave the realm of common fire or celestial fire, we're now outside the domain of the material. Interesting. So, and some of you have had, I'm reading comments in the feed too, some of you have had experiences of this flame and this fire. If you've had any kind of Kundalini awakening, which I've had, some of you have had, you also know what that feels like. I mean, it literally is like a furnace of energy, and it's hugely creative. A lot of projects are born, a lot of, relationships are born out of those Kundalini experiences too. Then we get to what's called the central fire, also known as the core fire. So it goes common or celestial, then it goes divine. No, I'm sorry, common or elementary, then it goes celestial, and then it goes core or central fire. And that is the fire of creation. That is a fire that cannot destroy, it can only create. It's called the energetic fire. The Word of God is considered, so the Bible is considered to be a written expression of the core fire. Interesting, right? It exists within matter and in the spirit realm. So it is that core fire can be harnessed it exists in the spirit realm, but it can be harnessed within people. And so, when I was growing up in the Christian tradition, we thought of this as, when you were speaking tongues, you had taken within you the core, that fire. The Holy Spirit, in a way, is a manifestation of that fire. Interesting, right? Hi, Anthony. Anthony won't go to sleep until he says hi to us. Now you have to go to sleep, Anthony, but we love you, and I'm very happy that you're here. Okay, and then the last level of fire is known as the secret fire. This fire exists within the center of the earth, it is said, and the crystal kingdom, the mineral kingdom, is said to be a set of keys to access this fire, the secret fire. Isn't that interesting? So it rests beneath the mineral kingdom, and it is said that not only are the minerals the keys to this enchanted fire realm, the secret fire, but they are also guardians of the secret fire. Isn't that cool? So we can, through crystals, we can activate this energy of the secret fire. It's a fun concept, isn't it? And it leads me to be thinking about, okay, so which crystals would be maybe the most potent for activating that energy, right? Are there certain crystals that we feel might channel that secret fire energy better than others? And I don't know. So Sherry, dragon fire is another manifestation of all of that, right? So dragon fire is another manifestation of this fire. Like I said, if you look at almost any tradition, literally any tradition, you're going to see, even the Judeo-Christian traditions, you're going to see expressions of this kind of spiritual fire, and that can actually be a face of source energy in a unique way, right? But then it shows up in the realm of dragons and in the realms of, fairies and enchanted lands, and it shows up in every other pantheon and religious and spiritual tradition on Earth too. Yeah, I like that. Space Daisy says obsidian. Like, that resonates, right? I think obsidian would be a very interesting stone to work with to channel this. Maybe like a golden sheen, which always has that. Or like fire agate, fire opal also feels very connected. Opals in general tend to have kind of a fiery energy to them too. Now, this is also, in mythology, we talk about Prometheus, right? Stealing fire from heaven. That's another expression of this. Some other ways people have described it as the incorruptible flame. The incorruptible flame. So this is an energy that cannot be corrupted. It can't, and I want you to sit with me with this concept for a second, okay? Because I find concepts like this just propel my understanding of magic in such a huge way. Is there a domain of work that we do? And I'm, in a way, this is a rhetorical question, because I think the answer is yes, but you have to see how you feel. Is there a domain of energy work that we can do where protection is not needed? This has been one of the quests, I think, probably of my adult life, is to understand, we spend so much time, me included, right? Like opening circles and clearing energy and raising vibrations and managing energy and running energy and, transmitting energy and all these things. And we are constantly thinking about protection, and is it in a tight container, and did we clear the energy? Did we, invite in the directions, all these things? Is there a level of work, or, I'm not using the right words, but I think you understand what I mean. Is there an arena of this work that we can engage in where we don't have to worry quite so much about protection, because there's this divine flame, right? There is this domain of creation where maybe both forces are not in such, intense conflict or tension all the time, right? I don't know. It's interesting to me because I think there is, like, and I've experienced, being energetically in spaces where I've felt like I'm not in duality anymore, because needing protection suggests that we are in a domain of duality. If there really is this space of unity where there's only one consciousness, right? One breath, one force, one creation. It's an interesting thing to play with, right? And one of the things I want to invite you to think about, because our journey today is to connect with the secret fire in a way that you need to right now. And that could look like, some Kundalini energy rising within you. You could find that the secret fire within you is in your heart, and you need to connect there. We're going to journey to the center of the earth to kind of anchor into that secret fire tonight, and then we're going to pull it up into the places and spaces in your body and field that really need it. And it feels like that energy, right? It feels like there's one force of energy, and it's not binary. It's not necessarily dual. It's just one energy stream, because if the secret fire is real, it is already so purified that it doesn't need to be contained, right? Yeah, the Agni Monatite, if you have that stuff, would be really good material to work with tonight. Yeah, I think you're right, Jimmy. I think it's very true. Yeah, I think that's very true. Lisvahara, beautiful comment, beautiful share there as well. Yeah, well, I think there is a universe, but I think it is dual. I think, in other words, I think there are, but that's based on my own experiences that I've had. I have seen what I would call evil through some pretty intense spiritual experiences I've had. But I think that experience is almost 3D, because I do think that there is a realm or a level at which we're not working in the dualities anymore. And so I think when we have those experiences of separation and duality, we're having those experiences as humans. But it does lead me to this bigger question of, so can we transcend that while we're still human? Is there another dimension of, or space of awareness, right? Yeah, me too, Carrie. I think the physical world is highly dual, so we have all these experiences of duality because we're in a dual space. But if we transcend that duality, what happens? And how do we do it? And is the secret fire what the alchemists really believed it was? Which is a key. It's a pathway to a non-binary way of thinking and being. And I don't know, it's an open question. I'm playing with it because I like the idea. And I think when I open my mind to that idea, it's like, ooh, what else is possible, right? Like, maybe we're not just sick or well. You know what I mean? Like, maybe there's a space of healing that isn't binary. You know what I mean? Where we questions of illness and wellness are irrelevant. There's just one state of being, which is perfectly whole. Like, these are interesting questions to me. So, I was taking some more of that beautiful sage smoke. When you're clearing before a journey, it's nice to also bring that smoke behind you, just to fill in the space. Mm-hmm. And then over our tools too. Yeah, these are great. I think you guys are choosing just the perfect crystals for the work tonight. I really do. Okay. So do you have any questions about all of that? It's a lot that I sat you with tonight, but I think the real thing for you to focus on is there's this concept of a fire that is not a physical fire. It's not like flames in motion. Think of fire as cosmic purification, and there's an energy that we have access to, and we're going to tap into it tonight, that is radically purified energy. So it does not need to be cleansed, it does not need to be restored, it does not need to be purified. It's already purified. And when we tap into that opens us up to an entirely different level of conscious awareness. Mm-hmm. Yeah. I think all the crystals that you guys are choosing for your work, if you want to have a crystal with you, are perfect. Okay. Now, here's another thing to consider for our work tonight, because the most important thing for any journey, but especially breath work, is intention. People will ask me, well, I've done breath, have you had a good experience with breath work? I've done breath work and I didn't feel anything. And when people ask me or say something like that, the first thing I say to them usually is, did you have an intention? Because spiritual work is intention driven, right? Any experience you have in your life can become spiritual if it's driven by intention, right? If you clean your kitchen because you have to clean your kitchen because it's a mess and you've got company coming over tomorrow, that's not necessarily a spiritual exercise. But if you clean your kitchen with the intention that you're going to bring good, clear, healing energy in, and that your space will be more clear to prepare meals that are nourishing to your body, and that it'll be a space of joy and connection, and you know what I mean? If you clean a space with intention, it can become a spiritual exercise. And it's a very Buddhist way of looking at the world. So for your journey today, part of your intention, I want you to think about it this way, because we're still in an I space of alchemy, meaning we're still looking at you. We're starting to look at you, though, in the context of other people, right? You as a healer healing other people. You as a person in relationship loving other people. We're starting to look through this phase of alchemy at you in relationship to those around you. The lowest level of fire energy, in terms of how it relates to you, how it relates to humanity, is considered ego. Okay, if you want to look at these levels, 4 levels of fire as the human spiritual path and development. So the common fire, what we call the elementary fire, literally the fire element, that's the base level of you and the expression of this power. And at its base level, and think about it, it makes sense. when you're using your power kind of haphazardly, and you're not really evolved, and you're not really thinking about how it affects other people, you're just doing whatever you want to do, that's a very ego-centered place, right? It's about you, it's about what you want, it's about what you need, right? And so when we create from that basic level of fire, again, remember, it can only destroy, it can't create. So when we're in a place of pure ego, we can't create. Because in a place of pure ego, you can't even be in relationship with anyone else, right? Because it's literally only about you. So we can't create from that place. We can't even create life from that place, right? There's an act that has to happen, and it can't just be about you, right? That's the Immaculate Conception. So as we move through each of these levels of fire, we evolve spiritually too. Now, the highest level of the fire, there is still a you, okay? There is an essence of you. But at the highest level, at that secret fire level, you are aware of you as part of the collective. In other words, whereas in the most basic level of your development, you could care less about how anything impacts anybody at all because you see yourself as separate from. At the highest level of secret fire, you see yourself completely in relationship to other people. So when you make a choice about everything that you do, you're thinking about, so how does this impact the collective? If this is raising my vibration, how does that impact the collective? If this is supporting my wellness, how does that impact the collective? I'm glad this is interesting to you. So it's one of the options for tonight's journey is deciding kind of where you are on the spectrum, because most of us are not at that secret fire level where every decision we make, we think about the impact to the collective, right? Like, I would love to be there. I'm not there yet. I frequently think about the collective, but it's not like, I'm not, rushing cooking dinner for the kids after, an 8-hour day and sitting there going, how is this meal serving the collective, right? I'm trying to get food on the table. So there's a level of humanity and grace that we have to allow ourselves here. But this awakening, to use, Blissful Heart's beautiful wording there, this awakening can really lead you beyond just the you. We never want to let go of our ego completely, because your ego is part of your identity. It's what allows you to recognize you as you, if that makes sense. There is a you are unique, there is no one exactly like you, and there is value in you. And so you need a little bit of ego to be able to acknowledge that. And you can think of this as Christ consciousness too, because Christ consciousness is also considered an expression of the secret fire, of that sacred, the white flame of consciousness, right? So isn't that interesting, Kim? So let me, and Jessica, I'm going to get to your question in just a second about what breath work is and whether and how you should do it. But do you feel like you have enough information right now to set an intention? Because even if you don't do breath work with me tonight, I hope that you'll still lay down, relax, and let me guide you through, a relaxing meditation. So no matter what you do tonight, whether it's breath work or not, having an intention is very, very, very important. So do you feel like you have one that works for you for tonight? Mine, I'm kind of thinking, one of my goals this year is to cultivate deeper hope for the collective, because it's just been kind of for me, there have been times where I've been really discouraged by just the faces of humanity that I've seen, or the lack thereof. I've just seen a lot of expressions of unkindness between humans, and when that happens over and over and over again, I get discouraged. You start going into that space of can I really make a difference? You know what I mean? And even though we all know we can make a difference and we are making a difference, I still have those moments, those very human moments of is this working? So I think for me, what I want to do with my part of our journey tonight is I want to set the intention to feel that secret fire, and to be able to channel it out, to be able to be a good conduit for it, to be able to transmit that frequency through my relationships, through my words, through my actions, through my, experiences. So, yeah. Nathan's saying my intention is to connect with the part of the secret fire within myself and glimpse how I can best bring it forward. That's beautiful too. Yeah. So finding self-worth, finding clear vision, finding your direction, finding your inspiration, connecting more powerfully with your intuition, these are all really great intentions for tonight's work, because it's all very accessible. It's all very available to you. Yeah. Well, and I think you have to remember, at least for me, every crisis is an opportunity, right? So when you have these moments where you do get discouraged or where your faith gets challenged, those are also, for me, those opportunities for me to find what I'm looking for within myself and learn how to embody it. It's like whatever I'm looking for, ultimately, I really need to become that. And then I find the more that I work toward becoming whatever that is that I think I'm looking for out there, the more whole and healed I become. And that's not always the answer I want to hear, but it is the truth. Ultimately what we're looking for is within us. And we can't really attract it until we embody it. We're going to keep attracting whatever we are embodying, which might be, if I don't have faith and I'm embodying that, that's exactly what I'm attracting. And so I have to it all starts with me, but then when you're, feeling discouraged, you don't want it to start with you. You want somebody else to do it. I don't know if that sounds familiar to you, but okay, so that's how we will proceed for tonight. We're going to move from the I, me to the I, we is the big paradigm shift tonight. And then that's going to set us up really nicely for the next 2 months of our alchemical work, because we're going to next move into understanding our internal we, right? The masculine and the feminine within us, and how those are negotiating and navigating their union. And then once we've really embodied that at the end of the year, we will be bringing that union forward, right? And sharing more of that with the world with intention. Okay. Now breath work. I want to turn our attention to breath work for a second. So breath work is an amazing tool. Now, I'm not going to take you on a huge breathwork journey tonight. First of all, that would require more time. They're usually about 3 hours, and that's from the start of the journey to the end of the journey. Anytime I do a breathwork journey for less than 3 hours, I feel like I didn't quite go all the way. So tonight I'm giving you kind of it's a mini breathwork journey. I'm not going to take you too far in. Breath work, also known as pranayama, is really the act of orchestrating your own life force, right? Controlling your own breathing cadence or rhythm to achieve a deeper state of conscious awareness. And what's amazing about breath work, especially if you ever do any other kind of medicine work, like ayahuasca or San Pedro or mushrooms or whatever it is they actually have a lot of similarities. Some of the deepest journeys, let me put it this way, some of the deepest journeys I've had have been with my breath. Yeah, I actually did 3 days of breath work. I did a 3-day breath work retreat. That was one of the deepest, as some of you know about it because I've shared some of my experiences from that journey over the years. It was about 10 years ago. Was right at the beginning of Sage Goddess, and it was 3 days, and we didn't eat. At first I was like, all we're eating is, we were allowed to eat dried fruit, nuts, fresh fruit, and then we were allowed to drink water. But that was it. And that's all she had for the 3 days. And at first I was like, I'm such a Greek girl, I was like, I don't think I'm going to make it. You want me to live on nuts and fruit and water? I don't do well with fasting and stuff, you know what I mean? I get grumpy. And I'll tell you something, I probably ate maybe 6 nuts and maybe 3 raspberries the whole weekend. I couldn't eat. I was so full and that's what she didn't tell us at the beginning. She's like, I wanted you guys to figure it out for yourself. But when you do that much breath work, you lose your appetite completely. I mean, I felt like I had eaten a full buffet. Because that's what breatharianism is, right? It's the art of learning how to actually nourish your body with your breath. And it's a trip when you experience it. Anyway, I did breath work for 3 days. So we would do 3 hours on, 1 hour off, 3 hours on, 1 hour off, and then the next day 3 hours on, 1 hour off, 3 hours on. I know. And it was deep, and it was intense, and it was hot and sweaty and kind of sexy. We took a group picture at the beginning of the retreat, and we were all like, you know, excited, but at the end of the retreat, we were all like shiny. We were like glowing. It was so good. Yeah, and every time I've done a retreat for Soul Shift before the pandemic, we always had breath work as one of the core components of it. So anyway, yeah, there's a fantastic guided breath work on YouTube by one of the women who did a breathwork retreat for me at Soul Shift, or at Sage Goddess. Her name is Lauren Tancredi. I will, Alexis, just remind me. I don't want you guys to look for it now. Just remind me, Alexis. I'll grab that link and send it to you, and then we can post it, because she's really good. And she helped you guys during one of the retreats, and she's got like a 1 hour, it's on YouTube, you know, so I'll post that for you later. Don't worry about it right now. No, you can eat. You can eat. I mean, this was an intensive, and it was for people learning to be breathwork teachers. The one I went to, I didn't. Oh. Can you hear me now? Can you hear me now? It says my microphone is working. This is so weird. I didn't touch anything. Can you hear me now? Can you hear me now? Test, test, test. Okay, I don't know what I did. Okay. Can we just not with the technical stuff anymore? You know, Mercury's direct. It went direct today, for God's sake. Okay. Breathwork. We're just doing a mini breathwork session. We are not doing a full breathwork session. If you have high blood pressure, if you have trouble breathing in general, I would recommend you can try a little bit, but you know, I would not overdo it. And if you have any concerns at all, I would probably not do it, right? You have to judge for yourself whether you have the capacity to do some intense breathing. So when you normally breathe, it's an inhale, it's an exhale, and you know, it's your breath is an autonomic function. So it's in and out, and in, and maybe you stop, and then it's out. And then maybe you wait to take another breath. With breath work, it's a looped breath. So it's a okay, and you're not taking breaks. It's in, out, in, out, in, out, okay? So that's what I mean by a looped breath, okay? So now, some people can get very anxious while they're doing it. I do want to tell you, I'm frozen again? What? Am I frozen? For real? Can you guys see me and hear me okay? You can't hear me, I'm frozen. Okay, you're good. I'm good for you, Samantha? Okay. Okay, I'm going to keep going because some of you say that I'm not clear. Okay, I'm good. Okay, sorry. Okay. Breath work is not something that I created. It's not something that anyone who's alive right now created. Breath work is as old as dirt and time. Okay, breath work comes from the Vedas. the whole concept of pranayama is part of the broader yogic tradition, and so it's been practiced for thousands of years. I mean, for as long as we have record. So it is not a modern practice. It is not to my knowledge a dangerous practice. But having said that, you know, it was hard for me to do 6 hours a day of it. I don't know how good that was for my brain. I had a great time though. But you really are, what you're physically doing with pranayama is that you are providing a lot of oxygen to your brain, right? Because you're looping that breath. And so that level of oxygen to your brain provides this really intense experience. And the little bit that I'm going to give you tonight, and I'll walk you through it in just a second, Elizabeth, because you're breathing from the stomach and the chest. It's 2 inhales and an exhale. And the first inhale is at the stomach, then the second one is at the chest, and then an exhale. So, right? So you're doing a really deep, a deeper breath than you would your normal, non-conscious breath. So what I would say is you're going to get a little tiny baby dose tonight. The most you might feel from what we're doing tonight is maybe feeling just a little buzzy. To get the lobster feet and the lobster hands that you see people talking about, you got to do it for, you got to really be doing the breath for about maybe 10-15 minutes, and then you'll start to get into, and basically what happens is your hands and feet become kind of hard to move because there's so much energy being pushed through them. Remember, the human body releases energy through the top of the head, the palms of the hands, and the soles of the feet. And so the top of your head can get really sweaty, the palms of your hands get really buzzy, and the soles of your feet get really buzzy. Yeah. It feels like too much work. Well, I'm going to tell you, honestly, though, it doesn't get any easier than this. I mean, it's your own breath, and you're controlling it, right? So, and what's cool about pranayama, too, if you ever do medicine journey, pranayama is how I manage some of the really difficult moments in ayahuasca, because no matter how experienced you are, there's always a part in an ayahuasca journey where it's real tough. She always holds you accountable for something, right? There's always something that comes up in the journey, and I can always tell when it's coming and my stomach starts to kind of do this thing, and it's like, it can be something really small, but it's usually like, because there's always work to be done, right? And when that starts to come up, I use my to navigate that, and that's it becomes a tool that you can work with other medicines to either work through the tough parts of the medicine or to deepen the meditation too. Like if you're meditating and you're like, ooh, I'm deep, I wonder if I could go deeper. And I mean, you do that for 2 minutes and you're going to see how much deeper you can go. If you ever get nauseous and you're somewhere and you can't throw up, you ever have that happen to you where you're like, oh, I feel like I'm going to throw up, but I don't know? I mean, it's the cure for nausea. I've taught my kids how to do it when they've had like car sickness and stuff. So anyway, it becomes a whole tool for you to use, and you can manage, stomach issues with it. You can manage tough parts of other journeys with it. So do you have any questions about it before we start? It really is as simple as taking control of your autonomic function of breath. So instead of letting your breath breathe you are now breathing the breath. And you are telling your system, okay, we're gonna channel more oxygen now, and we're going to. And what I like to do is, on each inhale, I like to imagine that I'm calling up healing. And today, of course, we're calling it up from the center of the earth, right? That I'm calling up some healing that my body needs right now, and I can imagine like in my shoulder, right? And I can imagine it going through my digestive system and to my heart, right? And then on the exhales, I'm imagining something that's too heavy for me, right? That I can, through that exhale, I can let go of it. So it's like each part of your inhale process is a chance to medicate, to nourish, to marinate your cells in your intention, and then each exhale. Can you get a headache? I've never gotten a headache from it. Yeah, I don't know. But people get headachy during ceremonies sometimes from too much crown chakra stimulation. and this is definitely crown chakra stimulation. So I would say if you start feeling too buzzy, take a break. If you start feeling headachy, take a break. If you feel anxious in any way, take a break. And all you have to do to stop it is go back to your regular breath, right? And then not control it anymore. And within just a minute, your heart rate will be back to, you know, its normal rate, and because your body regulates really quickly. So yeah, I would say give it a go, and just baby steps, right? Maybe do the breath with me for 30 seconds. Maybe I'll stop you at 30 seconds. You can keep going if you want, but maybe I'll just, you know, notice at 30 seconds that we're at 30 seconds, and I'll say, hey, why don't we check in now? Does that feel good? You guys like that? Hey, let's check in, right? How are you feeling? You want to keep going? And then I'll kind of, I probably will continue the breath, but then I'll just say, if you'd rather just kind of like chill now, you can just soften and relax and enjoy the rest of the show. You know what I mean? So I'll check in with you at that time to help you, yeah. Aww, well, you got some energy to release. I think that's a beautiful thing. That's a wonderful thing. Okay. What else did I want to tell you? So here's the breath. So again, it's 2 inhales, 1 exhale, but it's really just 1 long inhale. But I say it's 2 because most breathwork instructors do. Get all the air out of your system. So it's a here at the belly, and then it's the second part of the inhale is at the chest, so that you really are filling the whole diaphragm, and then. And, you know, usually your belly extends a little bit just because you're filling up the belly with air, so it's a... Now, I've done it both ways because I learned both ways. One of my teachers always did it with the mouth open. One of my teachers always did it with the mouth closed. And another one of my teachers said it doesn't matter. It's the same process. It's the same process, whether your mouth is open or your mouth is closed. At this point, I mostly do it with my mouth open, so you can do that. So that was for Jennifer McGuire. It is easier to do it laying down. For me, I find that. We're gonna make our perfume first before we journey, so I'm just prepping you for it, but just to get you thinking, because I wanted you to be focusing on your intention, and then we'll seal the intention with our perfume, and then we'll do our journey together. Yeah, your belly kind of comes out naturally on the inhale. Like, you don't have to push your belly out, but it's a, right? Because you're, so your belly is kind of, yeah, and like I said, it's the same process. You're receiving the same oxygen and releasing the same oxygen with your mouth open or with your mouth closed. So whatever works better for you. Okay, yeah. It's so nice to do laying down. So I think when we're done and we're getting ready to actually properly journey, I'm going to tell you, and then you can decide if you want to be sitting down or if you want to be laying down. Okay, I need to grab my my selenite wand, and then we are going to make perfume. Okay, good. So, tonight's perfume is all about helping you step into an open state, right? And I wanted to do this particular perfume tonight because of the breath work, and I hope you like the breath work. And I hope you'll start doing it on your own, because you can do breath work on your own anytime, anywhere. And yeah, I am using the Wawa too during your journey tonight. I'm going to show you how to teach it, or show you how to do it before we journey, and then I'm actually going to work with it a little bit during the journey too. Okay, so I want to just briefly walk you through the 3 oils that came in your kit this time. You have a little bit of Tobacco Absolute, which if you've never smelled Tobacco Absolute on its own, what a treat for you to be able to experience this tonight, because it is irreplaceable. There's nothing like it. The scent really surprises people because I don't know what people expect real tobacco to smell like. Maybe they expect it to smell like a cigarette, but it really doesn't. And tobacco is a medicine. It's a grandfather medicine. In fact, I don't know if you guys know this, but it was tobacco that taught in ceremony the original ayahuasqueros, the original ayahuasca shaman. Did you know that it was tobacco that taught them how to combine the chacruna with the Banisteriopsis caapi to make ayahuasca? So the fact that we have ayahuasca today is actually a gift from grandfather tobacco, and that's why they call ayahuasca the mother, right? And it was her father who introduced us to her. Isn't that cool? So I do want you to take your tobacco and just take a couple of inhales, and especially for those of you who have not smelled it before, I really want to hear from you. Isn't it so beautiful? There's something about it, and no matter where I'm at and what kind of energy field I have at the moment, this brings me to present time and calms me in a way that almost nothing else does. Remember that tobacco is considered an offering to Great Spirit. It connects you with your ancestors. It also raises a vibration of gratitude and respect and peace. It brings visions and healing, and it will show you, just like it showed us how to create ayahuasca, it will show you what the medicine of your healing is. Isn't that cool? So definitely, I really want you to put some in that blend. You don't have to use all of it because it would be smart to keep some of it for other use. When you make an incense, whenever we make incense, the sage goddess, it always has tobacco, just a little tobacco in it because it's an important offering, especially when you're crafting. And then pink peppercorn is going to cut the sweetness of that. Pink peppercorn is protective. It boosts the power of all other spiritual tools and work. It brings clarity and courage. It's also an aphrodisiac. But it eases tension. It revitalizes physical energy. So that's why it's such a great journey blend. And then your turmeric is one of the best anti-inflammatory oils you can work with. It helps to reduce inflammation, and that also leads to a calming and a centering of your central nervous system. It uplifts your mood. It brings joy and happiness. It encourages personal growth and confidence. It supports your immune system, so it's really good for the times that we're in right now. So what I want you to do is I want you to take the tobacco with the turmeric and smell them together, and then I want you to take the tobacco with the pink peppercorn and smell them together. For me, I want this to be, I want there to be a balance of the turmeric with the pink peppercorn. So I'm going to go in. Actually, I think I'm going with my tobacco first because that really is a base note. And for me, I want to make sure that the turmeric and the pink peppercorn don't overtake the tobacco. I really want this to be a tobacco forward perfume. So I am putting, and you can see the tobacco, it's nice and thick. How many more drops can I get? I can get one more drop. Maybe I can get 2 more drops. Yeah, baby. Isn't it yummy? It is like pipe tobacco. Oh, I just love it so much. And it's expensive. Oh my God. And then I'm going to add my turmeric. And that's, my intention there as I add the turmeric is for healing, for revitalizing, for encouragement. And then with my peppercorn, this is about purification. This is about relieving my stress and my tension. Oh, that is beautiful. Ooh, I don't even want to mess with that anymore. Wow, that's exactly what it needs to be. You got to give it a little boost there to blend with that tobacco, because that tobacco wants to be alone. You got to encourage it to dance with the other oils. There it comes. Isn't that fun? Can you see it in the bottle? Can you see how dark it is against the wall of the bottle? I don't know if you can see it. There, you can see it. You got to coax it. You got to shake it, baby. Wow, I'm really loving that. Woo. Because too much of the turmeric or too much of the peppercorn could have really sent that moving in the wrong direction. That was lovely. Okay, and now the jojoba is going to come in, blend, and soften. If I can get it open. I may have to go get a different bottle. I can't get that open. Let me go get a different bottle. I'll be right back. I don't have another bottle, so what I'm going to do, because I just need to dilute it enough that I can work with it tonight, I'm going to take a little bit of my Summer Gateway perfume, and I'm going to add that just a little bit, then I'll, it's kind of a nice way to connect the two as well, and I love the smell of the Summer Gateway. Okay, that's enough just to make it skin safe, and then I'll blend it with more jojoba later. I'm coaxing that tobacco, it's blending more and more and more. And it will soften and blend with your other oils. You can always put it in a double boiler and just warm it a little bit too if you want it to mix more. But now I want you to take a smell. Now you may really like adding some of your Summer Gateway blend, because that's a lovely combination. I know that was an accident, but it was kind of a happy accident. That's really lovely. So it is. And so you have to think about what you want to name that. It comes with a label. I always do mine later. But it comes with a label, with a little stickum. So you can put that right on your bottle if you want to label them, because that way you'll be able to tell your bottles apart in your collection. But for me, I think my intention for this blend is, in fact, I'm probably going to call it Secret Fire, because I think of tobacco as being very fire oriented. Yeah. Interesting. Yeah, Nancy said she's a certified aromatherapist. Yeah, and she's noticing how different mixing perfume is from mixing only EOs. Isn't that interesting? Yeah. Well, keep in mind the perfuming class, my perfuming class starts in July. We'll be talking to you more about that next week. We haven't started talking about it yet, but I'm really excited to be teaching French perfuming. It's one of my favorite things in the world. Okay, so I'm going to bring this over here. I'm going to come back to you so that we can begin our journey together. I'm so excited to journey with you tonight. Do you forget to name it? Well, my big thing is you gotta do something to set it apart from the other perfumes. So you can name it a symbol, or you can decorate it with crystals. You could glue little crystals to the outside of the bottle, but otherwise I forget which one is which. I'm like, I can pretty much tell them apart by scent, but it's nice to label them too. Yeah, I'm teaching a new class called Perfume Around the World for 3 months, July, August, and September. You guys will get it for 25% off if you want to take it. It's a public class though. Yeah, it should be really fun. I have a lot of people who are not in Soul Shift but have just wanted to take a perfume class with me. So you're probably going to be seeing a lot of different faces, which is kind of cool too. Okay, whew. So get a little bit of that on your third eye, a little bit at your wrists, a little bit at your ankles, as we get ready for journey together. Okay, now I want to introduce you to the Wawa tubes, which are tonight's secret tool. We have the blue one, you know, at sagegoddess.com today, so don't forget that if you want a second one, because what you can do is you can actually play them together. But I'm going to stick with the gold one for tonight, since that's the one you have too. Now this has been tuned, as you know, to 528 hertz. It says it on the side. And that is the ultra healing DNA repair frequency. It is really, by most people's standards, it is the best healing frequency that you can work with. And this works sort of like a chime. What I do with it, you always want to hold it with the hole facing up and bring it all the way through your energy field. It will clear anything. If you have pain, you want to bring that vibration up over. I always have issues with my shoulder. Yep. And then what's called a Wawa tube, because isn't that fun? And then people do all kinds of other funky things where they strike it. Or you can play it with both hands. Now the nice thing about this too, when you want to clear your tools, that's it. That is a perfect way to attune your crystals to that frequency. Remember, quartz can always absorb a frequency, so you can program quartz with that frequency for healing. So let's say you want to send a piece of quartz to someone for healing. You would strike your tube, bring it within the field of the crystal, right? Isn't that fun? Yeah, well, so different people do it different ways. A lot of people do, they hold it here so that the frequency of the heart gets magnified. Some people play it from their third eye. I've seen that too. That feels good. Try that on near your third eye. Well, that was fun. Is that helpful for you? Yeah, and then, like I said, if you didn't get your tools and you wanted one, we have the blue that are attuned to the visionary frequency. This is at 852 hertz, which is the third eye frequency. And so that one is more for the upper chakras. Isn't that cool? And then you can play them together like I was showing you. Some people are able to hold 3 at a time. I can't do that. I don't have that skill, but Isn't that fun? I know, they're so cool. It's a new kind of tool. So I'll work with it while we're breathing. I'm also going to be working with my drum a little tiny bit, and then I'm also going to be playing some music for you while we're journeying together today. So I'm glad you had fun with that too. Okay, now I want you to, if you're going to lay down, I want to invite you to lay down and start to get comfortable now. If you're going to stay seated, just make sure you're really comfortable. You know, that your back is supported, that your hips are supported, that, you know, what you're wearing is comfortable, that the temperature is comfortable for you, all the things that we think about in journey work, which we call set and setting. You know, it's like, it's your mindset. Are you prepared? Have you set an intention? And then it's the setting. Are you comfortable? Is the temperature good? Is there anything you need before you begin? So just make sure you're ready and you're comfortable and cozy. And I'm going to invite in our spirit guides and ascended masters to be with us tonight for this journey to the secret fire. So usually we're going, you know, up to the ascended realms, or we're journeying through history or time or space. Tonight we're going to be actually going right down into the center of the earth, the core of the earth, to find the secret fire and to connect you with that eternal flame. And the timing is so good. You know, I didn't really intentionally plan to do this within 3 days of summer solstice, but I can't think of any better time this whole year to be doing this journey than to be doing this journey with you tonight. Isn't that so good? So, you know, I love serendipity. Things always turn out exactly how they're supposed to. Alexis and I are always amazed by it. So I want to welcome in the guides and the guardians tonight as we start to settle into the journey space together. Welcoming in the guides and the guardians of the East, element of air to guide us on our breath journey tonight. And guardians of the East, we invite you in to help to move through and around and above and below our thoughts, and help us to imagine a new model, a new paradigm, a new pathway to healing for each of us. And tonight, Guardians of the East, our intentions are to expand our awareness, to see ourselves as part of the broader collective, and to understand what our soul's true gifts are and how to bring those gifts forward in the world in a good way. So we welcome in the guides and the guardians of the East to help shift our thoughts and open our minds. And to the guides and the guardians of the South, we welcome you in tonight, element of fire, as we pursue the secret fire, the deepest fire, the highest level of fire connection. And we seek this new relationship with the eternal flame, the flame that never burns, to try to understand that holiest of pure light, and to connect with that light, to anchor that light, to channel that light within each of us. And we welcome you. And to the guides and the guardians of the West, water energy tonight, we call upon you for deep healing in this sacred space, helping to connect us to our deepest emotions tonight, helping us to find the flow space within that river of unconditional love and acceptance, and to float there effortlessly tonight. And teach us how to let go of our worries and concerns and cares so that we can just completely surrender into this present moment. We welcome you. And to the guides and the guardians of the North, element of earth, tonight we connect deeply within you, seeking refuge within, seeking comfort and connection, grounding and protection. We welcome you in as well. And to the guides and the guardians of the upper realms tonight, we ask that you witness us from where you are, help to open the doorways of perception and wisdom so that we can access these higher levels of conscious awareness together. And we welcome And to the guides and the guardians of the middle realm, thank you for connecting us to each other, to this moment and this experience. Help to guide us into this journey space together and keep us in a space of gratitude and mutual understanding and appreciation. We welcome you. And to the guides of the lower world, the guardians of that incredible vast kingdom of bones and minerals and the keepers of that secret fire, we greet you this evening. And we ask for passage into your enchanted spaces. Help us to locate that bright flame and help us to kindle that flame within ourselves. And help us to find the easiest pathway for that flame to rise within each of us, so that it gives us the encouragement and the stamina and the strength and the joy and the wisdom and the abundance that we need for the next steps of our journey. We welcome you in tonight as well. It always feels so good when they're here, doesn't it? It's like the energy just shifts and settles and feels so good. So good. So for the first part of our journey together, just using the chime to activate healing within your body, within your mind, within your spirit. And just set the intention that each of your cells can open and receive. The healing codes that are needed to transform your health toward its highest possible expression in your physical body. So I want you to begin to bring your attention to your breath. And as you do, I want you to relax and soften every part of your body, starting with the very top of your head, giving your head and your skull and your brain permission to relax. There's nothing to think about right now or figure out or solve or focus on, so just give your brain permission to relax into a state of just present awareness, but if there's any complex thoughts, you can notice them and then just release them, give them permission to move. You'll be able to focus later. And giving your ears permission to relax, the muscles in the back of your neck to soften, relaxing your jaw, relaxing your shoulders, your biceps, your elbows, relaxing your arms, your hands, your fingers, and relaxing your middle back, lower back, softening your spine, adjusting your weight a little bit to notice your hips, and then relaxing them, imagining energy just flowing freely down your spine, relaxing your thighs, relaxing your knees and your calves, relaxing your ankles, the soles of your feet, and the tips of your toes. And if you're laying down, try to allow your back to soften just a little deeper into the floor, or into the bed or the mat that you're laying on. And if you're seated, try to make as much contact with the floor or the chair as you can. Again, noticing your shoulders, rolling them back, dropping them down, no pressure, nothing's being held, jaws relaxed. And this will give you a chance to really have a moment with your body. In this relaxed state, if there's any tension that you're aware of, bring your awareness to that place now and give it even more permission to soften, even more permission to open. And you can dialogue if there's discomfort anywhere, like, oh, I notice you. What do you want to show me? What do I need to know? And then just permission to soften, relax, release. Wherever that might be. And as we start to bring our attention to our breath, just keep reminding yourself this is your time, this is your practice, this is your journey, this is your space. This moment is truly just about you and your enjoyment, your relaxation, your pleasure, your learning. And just notice how effortless the exhale is and how easily the next inhale comes. Just noticing your body's own natural rhythms and patterns, not interrupting, just becoming aware. Now we're going to start to extend the inhale just a little bit longer and the exhale just a little bit longer. And I'm going to be doing my work with my mouth open. And you can do your work with your mouth open or closed, whatever's more comfortable for you. And so the breath is going to come in two parts. So first we inhale with the belly, and we inhale with the chest. And then we exhale all out of the system. And it's really one long inhale and one long exhale, but you want to fill the belly and the chest and the diaphragm with air before you release. So we have a nice big breath in and a nice exhale out. And the breath is looped, meaning we're not pausing in between the inhale and the exhale. So you'll just continue that work. So a big inhale in and a big exhale out. And so we've been working now for about 30 seconds to a minute. So I want you to notice a few things, and you can continue the breath, or you can slow down and take a break if you'd like. But if you're continuing, I want you to notice your heart might be beating a little faster. Your body might feel a little bit warmer. And I want you to start to notice how you lose your focus here a little bit. Start feeling a little softer, a little more relaxed. It's a little harder to think about your problems and your worries when you're in a state like this. In, out. In, on the in, you're breathing in everything that feels good to you, everything that you desire, everything that you're looking to experience. And on the out breath, you're releasing anything that feels tight, anything that feels tense or uncomfortable. And I want you to notice if you had discomfort at the beginning of the breath, how it might be shifting now. And just let it continue to unwind as you find your way through the breath. We're coming up on the 3 to 4 minute mark here. And you can stay with the breath, or if you feel like you're in a good place, you can start to let the breath breathe itself and return back to where we started. But if you're really enjoying it, you may want to just stay with the in, out. Just playing a little extra music to drive the breath, because you can speed it up here a little bit if you want. And I want you to feel yourself pulling up deeper each time, right? So you're drawing from your root, and you're drawing from the top layers of the earth. And then you're drawing from the mineral kingdom, right? The crystal energy is coming up through this breath. And you can feel yourself pulling up deeper and deeper and deeper from the earth with each inhale. as you pull up deeper, 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 start to feel the warmth of the fire, of that central fire coming, right? Isn't it beautiful? And this is your secret fire that you're connecting with. And you may feel yourself reaching deeper and deeper and deeper as you pull up and up and up and up. And connecting with your own life force, which is your own expression of that secret fire. This is your power. This is your conduit. This is your channel. You can start to play with that expression. It can be 2 inhales through the nose and 2 exhales through the mouth. It can be all through the nose and all through the mouth, whatever feels good to you right now, and just pulling up and pulling up and pulling up. Do you feel the heat? And just play with it. Let it come up and come through. You may start to feel like you want to move your arms and your hands, or you may feel like you want to be completely still and stationary. And now would be a good time to relax the breath. And instead of pushing and pulling, just start to let the breath breathe itself now. You've cultivated a lot of that energy, and now the channels are all open, and so you can visualize that flame coming and just flowing on its own, not even through the breath, right? I can feel even through my legs, I can feel that energy coursing. So it's coming up through your feet and your calves, over your knees, through your hips, and it's coming up through your arms and your elbows and your shoulders. And I want you to visualize that secret fire as an actual flame, and visualize yourself being able to direct it. Where do you want to send that cosmic fire? Where do you want to send that? You want to send it to your digestive system? Do you want to send it to your nervous system? Let your brain receive. Send it through the muscles and the tendons. Give yourself just a gentle massage if it feels good. Feels really good just to send that through. And just visualize it as waves of loving intensity and heat that you're just gifting to yourself. Sending it through your hands, through your arms. Visualizing it washing down over you, moving through your legs, down through your feet. And let it make you feel a little lightheaded. And I'll share all this music with you later. It'll help to remind you of being where we were during this time. Like you want to track back to it, you can just go right back to that breath. And what is that fire? Messages does it have for you to play more, to let yourself be free, to explore more, to be curious more? To enjoy the moment more? Everything is good here, right? There's no right, wrong. It's just whatever the moment is inviting for you. solar plexus. Right? Yeah, follow the drum with your breath if that feels good. Yeah. Your heartbeat will find its way there too. And then bring that fire up to your heart. Let it teach you how to burn again with passion, desire, for life, for love, for wisdom, for beauty, for truth, for peace. Invite it up to your throat so that it speaks through you. Invite that fire to inhabit your breath. I'm glad the music is singing you too. It's so good. How does fire want to be spoken through you? How does it want to be written through you? And then invite that fire up to your third eye. Let it illuminate your vision. Bring it up to the crown. Let it illuminate your relationship to your Creator. Let it illuminate your understanding. Let it illuminate your path, your steps. Okay. I want you to bring your attention back to your intention for tonight's journey. Stay where you are. Stay in that sweet space. I want you to bring your full attention to your intention for tonight. What was your desire when you were thinking about connecting with the secret fire? Where did you want to experience that burst or that flame or that unquenchable power? Where did you want to experience that great mysterious force that the alchemists were constantly trying to conjure and create and harness? Where do you want to bring that into your field, right? Yeah. What does that look like for you? And so I want you to bring your attention back to that intention and ask this fire to connect now consciously with your intention. And I want you to visualize, I'm a visual person, I'm visualizing that flame coming up from within me, from the center of this earth, and fully embracing, fully connecting, locking into my desire for tonight, which is a rekindling of hope and faith. And for me, that would be such an incredible gift. So what will the gift be for you? Maybe it's rekindling your passion, or maybe it's rekindling your joy. Maybe it's rekindling your truth. Maybe it's helping you, express what you need more clearly and more authentically. Getting your health back and your groove back, opening the third eye so that you can experience your visions clearly. What will it look like for you? Maybe as a healer and an empath, maybe part of what you can work with tonight too is learning how to be a good healer without allowing that work to drain your own life force, right? I see so many amazing healers in the world, who have trouble with their own health, you know, and I think a lot of times it's because so much of what the good work that they're doing is coming through their own system. And so what we can do tonight is actually dialogue with that flame and say, I give you permission to run through me, to course through me, to move through my hands, to move through my heart, to move through my words, and to move through my gaze, but without coming through my own system, you know? So I'm just creating an open channel tonight for that flame, but it's not part of my own system. It's not part of my own biology. And I think that is something really powerful that this flame can become for you. And then what's beautiful is when you pick up a healing tool like a wand after this, you can literally just imagine the flame coming through your hand, right? You can connect your wand first to the earth and summon that secret flame to come up through your tool, and then you can use that tool through your projecting hand now to send that flame. But again, not imagining that it's not coming from you, that it's actually transiting through you. And tonight, in a way, you're initiating this flame, right? You're summoning it, you're learning how to dialogue with it, you're developing a scent to go with it, and some sounds to go with it, and some tools to go with it, right? And so part of this process for you, I hope, is coming to see the secret fire as a tool. It's one of the tools in your toolkit. And it's the life force of the universe. It's not your personal life force. So this is a powerful way, I think, for those of us who have done that in the past, because I've done it in the past. I've healed people, but, you know, as a channel, but too much of that has come through my own field, or I've taken on other people's challenges as my own because I didn't get out of the way enough. And so this is a really beautiful way of visualizing you as channel, but not you as source, right? Yeah. Feels good, doesn't it? So, what I want to do now is I want to conclude our breathwork part of the ceremony tonight. Is I want to invite you to travel back down with that sacred flame, that secret flame. We're not back yet, but we're going to drum the flame back down to the center of the earth. And I want you to visualize yourself traveling with that flame. We're releasing the flame now. We've been pulling it up, pulling it up, pulling it up, and now it's time to release, release, release. And part of the reason why I want you to travel back down with me to release the flame is that I want you to track the flame. I want you to be able to understand visually for you where it comes from, so that when you need to call it on it, or when you need to summon it, or when you want to channel it for a client or for yourself or for a ceremony, you know exactly how to go in and connect with that flame and where you're pulling it up from. That's exactly right, Lola Bunny. Oh, Bianca, that's so beautiful. Melanie's dog is chilling out now after the storm. Yes. Oh, good. That's for you, Sharon. That's right. It's a hollow bone. But even the best healers, you know, sometimes forget it's not them, and it can't be them, because we're human. We can't run all of that. It's not sustainable. Not in 3D. Not with flesh and blood and bone. You know? Yeah. I know. It's always hard to go. Oh, I see you, Penelope. You know, that's a beautiful purification. It really is. So let it flow. Let it flow. So we want to give thanks to this beautiful cosmic secret fire for revealing itself to us tonight, for connecting with us, for teaching us how to find it, how to track it, how to breathe it, how to be it, how to embody it. watch it, you can swim with it. That's kind of fun, isn't it? Aw, thank you so much for that, Lola Bunny. This has been a fun journey for me too. And I'm excited for those of you who are learning that your breath is a tool and you have it with you wherever you go. You don't need anything else. It's a pretty cool thing. So whether you're swimming in it or alongside it or behind it, just watching it wind its way down. Feeling it get warmer and warmer and warmer as we make our way deeper into the center of our planet. The vibration gets slower here. Remember, the denser matter becomes, the slower the vibration. Have you found the heart of the fire? I feel like I have. And so now you know where to go. When you want to find it, and bring it back. And notice how in this place it's hard to connect to fear or lack or stress. Because here you find sort of an ultimate grounding. The energy slows down, and with it the thoughts slow down. And here's a great place to experience alignment. Your heart rate with the heartbeat of the planet. Feels good, doesn't it? And we give thanks to this sacred fire for revealing its secrets to us. There's like an essence of it that seems to just say, I'm always here. I'm always here. I find it to be very reassuring and protective and nurturing and calming, centering. So if there's anything that remains for you that you want to release, let's let it go here. Anything from today, from this week, from this year, what do you want to leave here? Everything can be transmuted here instantly. Nothing's too big, nothing's too heavy. Just leave it here. Interesting. Erin said she realized she holds a lot of stress and tightness in her chest. And so tonight's probably an interesting time because I put you into a deeper relaxed state for you to notice where there is tension and stress. You know, when your whole body's stressed, it's hard to know where the stress is. It's everywhere. But when you release a lot of that stress and then do a check-in, you know, it's like, oh, I'm holding it here. I didn't realize I was holding it there. Ah, la la la. And again, remembering this is 528, so if you do notice any pain, bring the frequency through the field of that pain. Super beautiful, isn't it? Woo! I went somewhere with you too in that journey. I really did. That was quite something. I think I needed that. I needed that. I run a lot of fire energy anyway, but I haven't really ever done what we just did in the way we just did it. I'm so glad you guys enjoyed it too. Woo! Good. Sweaty palms are exactly what I want you to have right now. You might be sweaty in other places too, baby. We just, you know, played with fire. In all the best ways. Oh, I love that. Wendy's cat's chilling with her. Oh, I see. Have you heard someone say your name, Abby? That's really cool. Oh, Daimechi, I'm so glad you were here. Oh, how beautiful. Megan Estromera said that she saw her papa's face when we started. I am not surprised. Oh, Christine, thank you for that. We had an earthquake before I started drumming. Really? Holy smokes. Hillary's here in LA with me. I didn't feel it. I'm surprised the kids didn't come running in. Well, you know, Elizabeth said her flame was cold, and that can be. Remember, this is not a flame of heat and burning, right? A spirit flame can be probably very icy and cold. So I don't, you know, I'm not surprised to hear that at all. Your spirit guy was there. How beautiful is that? Wow. You held the flame in your hands. In Santa Monica, yeah? Wow. Yeah, we'll have to check on that. That's pretty crazy. And we haven't even started to have the real heat, which I think drives the earthquakes. So we'll see what this year will be like. Well, let us release our friends who hold that space for us so beautifully. Oh, you heard ignite your power, huh, Kaz? So what are you going to do? I like those kind of spiritual dares. I do. I just want to like stretch my whole body. There's a lot of energy I move through. You know, is it, I often wonder, like, do you guys mind that I journey with you? You know, a lot of times when people lead a journey, they don't do the journey. They just, you know, they'll sit in a chair and lead everybody, but they're not doing it. But I like to actually do it with you and have the experience with you. So hopefully that's not something that you mind. But I most of my teachers do not actually do the journey. They're just kind of walking through and drumming, but they're not actually doing the breathing or anything. And I kind of like to be in the space with you, having the experience with you, so it feels like we're doing it together as opposed to like you just doing it by yourself. So, okay, good. Sometimes I fear that I might look distracted because like I'm kind of also talking to my spirit guides at the same time, but okay. I do have an inversion table, not here. It's at the shop. I thought about bringing it home. It's definitely good for back and sciatic stuff. Okay, good. Well, thank you for that. I'm glad you don't mind, because I really do like to have the experience with you. I really do. Okay. I mean, my dream is for us to all do it together in one big room, you know? And we've done that with breath work. Although during breath work, when we do a retreat, I usually come around and do body work. Or, you know, what ends up being a lot of snuggling. I was on the floor snuggling with a bunch of you during our breathwork journey together. Anybody who was upset or crying, I would go find them and hug them until they stopped crying. What a beautiful experience that was. May we get to a place where we can do that again, you know? All right, so let's release the guides and the guardians of the lower realm. Thanking them for that connection tonight, for helping us find our way to the secret fire, and for anchoring us inside of our beautiful planet, helping us to find our pathway through. We thank them and release them with gratitude. And we thank and release the guides and the guardians of the middle realm. Yep. We thank them for our connection to each other, to this present time, for this class space where we can gather. And we release that connection and those guides with so much gratitude this evening. And to the guides of the upper realms, we thank them for wisdom that flowed through, for helping to, even though we were working in the center of the earth, for still keeping us balanced and connected through the upper channels and upper dimensions. We thank and release them. We thank and release the guides and guardians of the north for grounding and for protection and for helping us to go easy, to relax and soften tonight, knowing that we were safe and held and connected to each other, to them. We release them with gratitude, and we release the guides and the guardians of the west, thanking them for a good emotional healing and movement that came through tonight, shifting perspectives. There's a lot of energy moving tonight, so we thank the guides and the guardians of the west for helping us move through that transformation with ease. Thanking and releasing the guides and the guardians of the south for fire energy tonight, for connecting us with the secret fire, for helping us experience different kinds of flames tonight, which is fun, reminding us that fire isn't always hot and doesn't need to burn to transform. I think that's the other big, for me, that's the big takeaway. I don't have to burn to transform. As a double fire sign, that's kind of like a paradigm shift. So we thank them for that wisdom, and then we thank and release the guides and the guardians of the east tonight. Thank you for opening us up to new levels of awareness, offering us new tools, new practices, and most of tonight's tools you have with you all the time. Your breath, you got introduced to your breath as a sacred tool tonight. And so we thank the guides and the guardians of the east for the life force, for that secret fire, for the prana, for that gift, and for teaching us how we can work with that gift in a good way to alter our mindset at any time. It's always here for you. And with that, session 3 is complete. You are so welcome. What a great time this was with you. Goodness, goodness, goodness. And it's my pleasure, and what a blessing to be with you. Honestly, it wouldn't feel the same, I don't think, if I just kind of guided you and didn't do the thing. It just would seem kind of artificial. So, and plus, like, I can tell when it's a good journey and when it's like an okay journey. You know what I mean? So it's also a way for me to critique myself and get better at my practice. I'm glad you liked it. This one I really felt. Some of them are like, oh, I can feel it, but it's not a real like game changer. This is a little bit of a game changer tonight. I definitely feel like, you know, there's an easy in and out to that secret fire now, and when I need to go and get it and work with it and take it back, I can do that. And again, reminding myself, because even I need the reminder, it doesn't always have to come from me. In fact, it shouldn't come from me, right? I'm not source. I'm just a channel. Yo. Yeah, my we're actually making this into a grid. This is it's kind of Kundalini, or it's not really Ouroboros. He's not eating his tail, but it's sort of the like the Buddhist infinite knot combined with the snake and the moon phases. It's from some artist on Etsy. Most of my clothes come from Etsy. It's true. We're just good vessels. So, what did I want to tell you? A couple things. Tomorrow is full moon in Capricorn. So I hope you'll join me. We're going to be live at 6 p.m. I know it's been a lot of me this week, and your partners in crime, whoever you live with, are probably like, haven't you had enough of her? Friday was the private solstice. Monday was public solstice. Tuesday, last night was this gem sale. Tonight's class. Tomorrow's full moon. But I promise I'll leave you alone on Friday for a little while. So we have full moon tomorrow. If you're a Capricorn, this is probably feeling really good to you. My North Node's in Capricorn, so full moons in Capricorn are always mean I have to work hard. But that's okay. I like to work hard, so I'm always down for that. There was a fun little gift with purchase for you guys today, so I wanted to mention that to you. I made this incense called Funky Town, and my goal was to make something funkier than Boom Shiva. So, if you've tried Boom Shivas, the Boom, as it's known, is pretty good. My favorite story about that is when I first made Boom Shiva in San Francisco, I hotboxed my team. I didn't realize I was doing that, and one of them got really high off of Boom Shiva. She was like, I feel so good right now. She was a really conservative lady, so I was just like, uh-oh. I think I got Lisa high. Anyway, this one is mushroom, reishi, and lion's mane with mugwort, blue lotus, and then the oils are portal perfume, if you remember that one, and then mushroom absolute from France. This is a very mushroomy blend. It's not magic mushrooms, but it's all the other mushrooms, and the mugwort in there will soften you up. The blue lotus in there will soften you up. So if you want to try that, you have to put Funky Town in your notes. It's kind of a secret code. I don't have enough to send samples to the public. This was an expensive incense to make. And then I want your feedback. If you like it, I'll make it for the shop. If you're like, it's okay, but I don't know, then I probably won't. So I figured I'd give it to you guys, who are the connoisseurs of all things magic, and see what you think. Yeah, well, there's nothing illegal in this. I do make some other incense blends, but those are for home use. But everything that's in here, is, USDA kosher. But when you mix them together, they are quite something. Blue lotus was used by the Egyptians to have their astral travel experiences, and mugwort is definitely a little bit of a softener. The mushrooms work well that way too. So anyway, if you are shopping, don't forget to put Funky Town in your notes. And I think that's all I wanted to tell you about today. Why don't you take me to Funky Town? Oh, the good stuff. Oh, I know, right? I wish I had portal perfume back. We're trying. So it's just a matter of getting ingredients and stuff during a pandemic. I can't tell you how hard it's been. How do you work with loose incense? So you work with loose incense with a charcoal disc, which of course all my charcoal burners are in the other room because I moved stuff around today. But sometimes when I'm live in the middle of the day, those I go live every day on Facebook. In case you don't know that, every day between 12 and 2 on our main Facebook page, I go live. So if you like that page and turn on your notifications, it'll tell you like, oh, Sage Goddess is live. That's me. And a lot of times I burn stuff to teach people how to burn it because we sell a lot of resins and powdered incense. So it's charcoal discs. So you light the charcoal disc with a lighter and then you sprinkle just a little bit on top. That's how you do it. I know, I want the old Portal too. I have my original bottle of Portal. And it still has like an eighth of the bottle in it. And now I'm using drops because I don't have any more Portal. So we'll work on that. Wouldn't that be cool, Jimmy? I've never seen it like that, but I suppose you could if you had enough of it. All right, you guys have a great rest of your evening. Gosh, what a pleasure it was to be with you. I don't really want to go, but I want to respect your time too. Have a great rest of your evening. Alexis, thank you as always for being there. I love you. And I'll see you guys tomorrow for full moon. Have a great